It's a vibe like that, okay? All right, switching attention this afternoon. We are live on Facebook now as well. Joining me, I've got Linda McKinnon, who is the CEO at International Congress of Infectious Diseases. Now, each year, more than 3 million people around the world lose their lives because of infectious diseases. Now, while the demographic profile of these varies, the bulk of the burden is felt in low and middle income countries, particularly in the global south, where neglected tropical diseases and under resourced health systems also adds to the impact of this taking place. And so we're going to get straight into this conversation because how important it is to host these conversations, and also as community leaders to understand our responsibility, when it comes to a number of things within our communities, and also to see and possibly to tell if ever this is a situation that we are currently facing as well. Linda, firstly to you, good afternoon. Thank you for taking the time out to join us.
Thank you so much, Cliff.
Awesome. Let's get into this conversation. Before we really talk about it, first tell me about the role of the ISID.
Sure. So ISID, which is the International Society for Infectious Diseases, is a nonprofit professional society that was formed in the late 1980s, first as a conference convener, but then it quickly incorporated into a larger mission with peer-reviewed journals and online access there, as well as incorporating in innovative surveillance, a large global platform that we work on early warning detection for infectious diseases, as well as grants and fellowships and professional education efforts, along with our many congresses that we've planned and executed over the many years of being around.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and to speaking about all of that, and also because you're operating on an international scale, how exactly does the ISID work to address the spread of the infectious diseases, especially in low and middle income countries?
Yeah, part of our mission has always been to focus on LMICs, those who are really fronting the burden of infectious disease management and outbreaks all over the world. We publish peer-reviewed articles in our open access journal, which is the International Journal on Infectious Diseases, which also focuses on lower middle income regions, different areas. We've always had a real focus on these different countries rather than sort of more developed nations. We put out a guide to infection control in the healthcare setting, which does focus on LMIC settings. And we do convene our congresses in many of these lower middle income countries to make sure that we're delivering high quality content and the cutting edge science to these nations who are really tackling these diseases.
And so when you speak about the conferences that you guys host, who exactly attends the conference? Who is the conferences aimed at? And what is the goal of these conferences?
Yeah, so we execute our congresses every 2 years, and we really convene everyone within the clinical space who are dealing with infectious disease. I think in the past it was much more heavily focused on clinicians or physicians, but I think over time with COVID, we've really seen that there's a continuum of care. So people who are on the front lines for the epi-intelligence, detecting infectious diseases, to frontline workers. And we also work within a One Health aspect, which includes veterinarians and animal health, as well as environmental health. So it's the full gamut of frontline workers, community workers, nurses, practitioners, veterinarians, people who are dealing with all aspects of infectious diseases.
Okay, so in terms of the infectious diseases as well, can you possibly then also provide us with insight into the current challenges that are being faced in controlling the transmission of the infectious diseases, and or any innovative solutions that are being implemented?
Yes, and I'll say I'm not a clinician. I'm more of an epidemiologist, but
Okay.
with COVID happening, I think, with with the lockdowns, some of the routine vaccinations that had been in place
Mm-hmm.
and going well have really been put to the sidelines. People were just, making do. And so we have seen an uptick in just those gaps in just routine vaccinations, and just some of the current challenges we're seeing also with seasonality and climate change
Mm-hmm.
impacting infectious diseases. So seeing dengue fever that used to have a seasonality just be present, for, just constant,
Yeah.
as well as seeing malaria pop up in areas where it had been, not previously seen or had
Mm.
been, thought to be um, eradicated.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's a lot of things that are converging. I think climate change and just the COVID challenges as well, and getting off schedule. So hopefully we're getting back to some of the normal, planning and
Yeah.
taking care of those routine preventive and kind of proactive approaches to infectious disease management.
And I mean, speaking about that as well, early on you mentioned that you guys host a number of conferences all over the world as well, but it happens every 2 years. When you're not hosting the conferences, how else do you go ahead and provide information? How else do you educate the communities? How else do you educate the countries in which you guys are based at?
Yeah, so we do have an online platform which is mostly open access. Well, it
Mm.
is all access right now. And you are able to do your online education. So you can get CME credits for this accredited platform.
Mm-hmm.
So many people go online to our website and are able to attend a webcast, or even listen in on podcasts. And we really bring many of the different folks who are on the cutting edge of infectious disease together, from all aspects and all locations of the world, to really present online education to people who might not be able to travel
Yeah.
or get anywhere. As well as our online journals, which are open access as well. And if people want to submit abstracts, if you sit in lower middle income countries, your acceptance fees are waived. So we really try to make it easy for people to learn and, showcase their own science as well. And then we are always constantly working on our innovative platform, which is the Program for Monitoring Emerging Diseases, ProMed. And many people all over the world rely on that day-to-day information to
Mm.
see what's happening in the world. It's sort of the ground truth for emerging infectious disease surveillance.
Yeah, and I mean, certainly this can become quite a scare as well. I presume when it comes to certain areas, when it comes to certain communities, and more so, the countries that falls within the gap of the low and middle income ratio, which is in the global south side of things. You've mentioned it earlier, but if you don't mind just giving us those details again, just in terms of the website and where people can go to find out more information, and also just to go ahead and educate themselves if ever they feel like, kind of taking action and educating people within their own communities.
Yeah, so our website is isid.org, and you can access information. And we do have a Congress coming to Cape Town in December, so
Awesome.
December of this year.
Nice.
And so you can go to our website and find out more there. And we are always trying to provide grants and awards for people, or fellowships who are doing their science, and you can learn more about that. And also our knowledge exchange if you want to, get accredited information and learn there as well. We're happy to have as many visitors as there are.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And hopefully, closer to the time as well, we'll perhaps chat more about it, about the conference that's coming up in December right here in Cape Town.
Yes, great.
Awesome. Linda, thank you so much. It's been an absolute delight and a pleasure to chat to you. This is certainly not the last time we're going to be chatting about those infectious diseases. 3 million people dying on a yearly basis. It's not a good statistic, especially for those countries that fall within the low and middle income bracket.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That was Linda McKinnon. She's the CEO at the International Congress of Infectious Diseases. Kind of really just breaking it down and giving us some more information and just an insight as to what is looking like for those that is in the global south when it comes to what things are looking like in the tropical diseases and also the under-resourced health systems that needs to be addressed, and also for us to understand what things are looking like on a global scale. Sometimes we don't realize because we're so caught up in our own communities, we're caught up in our own country with our own politics and what's happening in our own background. We don't realize, nor do we understand what's happening in neighboring countries as well. And who knows, perhaps this is something that you could get into. Perhaps this is something that you become passionate about. So that was Linda, and of course you can catch the full conversation on Facebook as well.